Hello all and welcome to this hands-on lab. In our lab today, we will learn how to bulk upload data from a CSV file to Amazon Keyspaces using cqlsh, which is Cassandra Query Language Shell Utility. A couple of things to keep in mind before we proceed further ahead. AWS services used in this lab can incur charges. Hence, ensure that you clean up all resources after completing this lab. Prerequisites for this lab is knowledge of Amazon Keyspaces. Hence, if you do not know what this service is all about, please refer to this overview video that I had created some time back. Linked to this tutorial is mentioned right here at the bottom. Scenario for our lab today. We need to migrate or copy data from a CSV file to Amazon Keyspaces. It's a very simple, straightforward scenario. You have a CSV file, right, that has data in it, and you need to have it copied over to Amazon Keyspaces. Now, there are several ways, right, to do this, but for this particular lab, we will be using cqlsh. Reference URLs. This first URL that you see over here, this is the original tutorial from Amazon. So feel free to review the tutorial, right? And go through the tutorial, look at the steps. In fact, you can also copy some of the CQL statements from there. The second one over here, this basically talks about the programmatic endpoints for Amazon Keyspaces. So depending upon which region you are, you will have to refer to this particular URL to get your programmatic endpoint. These two links are for troubleshooting, right? So if you get stuck or you start facing issues, if there are some errors that keep on popping up, which unfortunately they do quite frequently, then refer to these troubleshooting links, right? Refer to the various versions that you are using of the softwares involved, and you will be eventually be able to troubleshoot whatever error that you are facing. And finally are the download links. So we will be downloading Apache Cassandra. Please download it from this particular URL. We will be downloading a cert as well. So download it from this URL. And the CSV data file, again, this is a zip file, right? And this is again mentioned in your original tutorial, but it is a zip file. So we will be downloading a zip file, then we will unzip it and then extract the CSV data. In fact, let me switch over. So this is the original tutorial that I was talking about. This is that URL, right? And you can refer to the prerequisites. In fact, if you go here, create source and target, you will see sample migration.zip. This is a zip file, right? So you can basically download it from here, or basically you can copy the URL from here as well. If you want to download it locally on your machine and review the file, feel free to do that as well, right? This is the troubleshooting URL, one of the URLs. So you can refer to this one as well, right? And these are the service endpoints for Amazon Keyspaces. So depending upon your region, you use the corresponding endpoint. So generally, it's pretty straightforward. It's Cassandra, then the region name, whatever your region is, Amazon, AWS.com. And you will see that all of them are in a similar fashion, right? So these are some of the key URLs, and ensure that you keep these download URLs handy. I will have all of these URLs copied in the description of this video, right? Because we will use these download URLs to basically download the software and install it, right? So it will be part of a couple of your curl commands or your wget commands, depending upon, whatever we use. Okay, so let's move further ahead. So a couple of things before we start the lab. Now, this is as per my observation. Your observations might be totally different depending upon your experiences. but I thought that I should share this with everyone, right? Because I have a lot of learnings, and the whole intention why I create these videos is because I like to share my knowledge and my learnings with everyone else. So the first thing that I kind of observed and learned is that Python 3 does not work very well with Cassandra 40x or 311, that is 3.11. There's always some error that I run into. So avoid that combination. I mean, if it works, it works. Sometimes it just stops in between, or a couple of times it just, hung up my EC2. So I kind of got done with it. cqlsh 6.0 does not work very well with Keyspaces. So I was able to create a keyspace, I was able to create a table, but the moment I started copying data from my CSV file, it just failed. It just failed. It just completely failed. It didn't copy anything. The third thing that I wanted to let you know, and you need to be careful with this one. So for this lab, I'm going to use a T2 micro instance, and it works just fine most of the times. But if you feel that it is slowing down, it is becoming sluggish, then provision a larger instance like T2 large. Remember, T2 micro is free tier eligible, but T2 large, that is going to incur charges. So if you provision a T2 large, ensure that you clean up all your resources after completing this lab. But yes, a couple of times T2 micro has become very slow or sluggish, and then the only option was to go ahead with T2 large. I shared the link to the original tutorial with you. The original tutorial has its own set of steps, right? And it does some extra steps as well. My whole intention is to make the tutorial and the approach very easy, so for anybody to learn and follow. So I've kind of changed and modified the overall approach. You can still refer to the original tutorial. You can copy the CQL statements from there, right? Again, over there, they are telling you to use the latest and greatest of Cassandra. There are a bunch of URLs as well to go and download Cassandra. But this is the magic combination that I have seen that works beautifully without giving any errors. So Cassandra 3.11.13, CQLSH 5.0.1, and Python 2.7.17. So this combination works. Other combinations, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. They throw up some errors. So if you are facing errors, let's say if you just stumbled upon this video and you're facing errors, go and check your combination. But this combination does work. Again, the original tutorial calculates the throughput capacity. If you want, you can go ahead and do that for the lab, depending upon how many records you have. I will not be doing this. I'm going to skip this particular step. And again, if you encounter errors, unfortunately, people do, and I did a whole lot of errors. Check your Python version, check your CQLSH version, right? And refer to the troubleshooting URLs that I had shared with you. Typically, whatever error, hopefully, that you get is covered in one of the scenarios in the troubleshooting URLs. So with that, let's get started. The first thing that we need to do is we need to provide access to Keyspaces. So whatever user you are using, go to that user, add this particular policy, and ensure that your user has access to Keyspaces. So I am going to go to IAM. This is a user that I have provisioned, right? You can use whatever user that you have, right? And click on add permissions, attach existing policies, go to Keyspaces, right? Select next, add permissions, and your policy has been added. Now I'm just displaying this to you. Of course, I mean, my user already has access, but I'm just displaying this to you. Okay, this is how you go about doing it. Remember, you need full access because you're going to create a key space, you're going to create a table, you're going to upload data, and at the end, you'll also be deleting all the resources. Ensure that you release all the resources at the end of this tutorial. So we just completed step 1. Step 2 is that we need to generate service-specific credentials using the console for our user. So this very same user, we will go to security credentials tab. We will generate credentials for Amazon Keyspaces, and by clicking generate credentials, and then ensure that you either copy or download your credentials, right? You will need them later. So keep a notepad or something handy and copy your credentials. If you want, you can download them as well. So go back, go to security credentials, right? Credentials for Amazon Keyspaces, generate credentials. It's showing you the credentials. So copy the username. This is your service username for programmatic access. And this is your password. So copy the password as well. So service username, service password, this is going to give programmatic access to this particular user. Okay. And if you want, you can download the credentials as well. So we basically completed step 2. Step 3. Now for this lab, I'm going to provision an EC2 instance, right? Because I don't want to kind of install a whole lot of software on my local machine or laptop. I would recommend that you do the same. But if you still want to go ahead and do it on your local machine, you're more than welcome to do that. But for this particular lab, we will provision a T2 micro instance. This is going to be an Ubuntu instance, Ubuntu 18.04, right? With public IP enabled and inbound ports 22 and 9142 open. So let us go to EC2 instances. Okay, and then we are going to launch a new instance. So say my Cass, I'm just going to give some name. Go to Ubuntu and let's select 18.04, right? T2 micro, select your key pair. This is my key pair. Network, we are going to launch this in a default VPC, assign public IP that's enabled. Firewall, we are going to create a security group called so-and-so, right? And SSH is going to be open, right? And then we will change whatever else that we need later. If do we need anything advanced over here? I think we are good. So let us go ahead and provision this particular instance. So click on launch instance. This is our instance right here. Right, select your instance. And this is our public IP address. I'm going to copy that and paste it right there. And let's see what we have. It's a T2 micro instance. This is a security group right here. And let us go ahead and take a look at it. Edit inbound rules. And remember, we have to add port 9142. Right, I'm just going to open it right now. Of course, if you're doing this in production or anywhere else, ensure that you have the right security group and the access. This is just for lab purposes, guys. Okay, because we don't want to kind of waste a lot of time in troubleshooting or anything. Okay, so this is our security group ends with EB5. Okay, so we have completed this step. Now we will SSH into our EC2 instance with user Ubuntu. So let us do that. And after that, we will switch to root user and perform an update. So this is my IP address. I'm going to copy that. This is my putty right here. Paste it. Appearance. Just increasing the font. Selecting my private key, open. Hopefully my instance is up and running. Yes. Ubuntu. Enter. And there it is. So we are logged in. I'm going to clear the screen. And remember, we need to switch to root. And we need to perform an update. So this is the command right there. So it's app get update. So it's performing the update and it's done. So I'm going to clear the screen again. The next thing that we are going to do is we are going to check our Python version. And you know this is the magic version, right? So say Python hyphen version. Now this does not have Python installed, it has Python 3, and you're more than welcome to experiment with Python 3. I have done it myself, right? But I know that this particular version works really very well. So what we are going to do is we are going to run this particular command right there and perform an installation of Python 2.7.17. In fact, you can copy it from here, right? So say yes, and it's installing Python 2.7.17. This is the Python minimal version. Clear the screen. Again, check the version, and that's our Python version right there. Okay, so we have completed step 3. Step 4. The next thing now we will do is download Cassandra 3.11, right? And you need to download this from this particular link or the URL. So this is the same URL that I had mentioned in the download links. Take the URL from there. It's a curl command, right? And append that particular URL with this particular extra parameters, right? So it's a tar file. We are going to download the tar file and then we are going to untar it using tar -xc. So let us go ahead and do that, right? So I'm going to copy the command from here, right here, right? So copy. I'm going to paste it in my notepad. This is the curl command and execute it. Hit enter. And it's downloaded our Cassandra. So we have basically completed this step. Now what we need to do is we need to change our directory to this particular directory, that is Apache Cassandra 3.11.13 bin, and then check the version of cqlsh. Remember, this is the magic version. So I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to say cd. In fact, you know what? ls-l. Then I'm going to do cd. Change my directory again. ls-l. Oh. And you see the bin folder right there. So cd bin. Okay, clear the screen. And then if you do ls-l over here, you will see cqlsh. So we are going to clear the screen again. We are going to say ./cqlsh -- version. And that's our version right there, right? So this is our cqlsh version. You know, we were looking for 5.0.1. Okay, so we have completed step 4. Step 5. So now we need to download the certificate. So download and save the certificate. Again, this URL is mentioned in your download links. Use that URL, right? This is again using the curl command and just prepend it with -o, right? After downloading the certificate, we will try and get its absolute path and then set our environment variable. And finally, we will check if our environment variable was set correctly or not. So let me copy the link. Right, so this is the link right here. Copy. And go back here, clear the screen, paste it, enter. So a certificate has been downloaded to ls-l, and hopefully it should be somewhere here, right here. There it is. This is our cert file right there. sf-class2-root.crt. So we have successfully downloaded our cert file. Now what we need to do is we need to get the absolute path or the full path of our particular cert file. So the command for that is basically read link -f sf class 2 root.crt, right? Hit enter, and this is your absolute path. So copy that, okay? So it's just copied right now. What we need to do with that path is we need to set our environment variable. So this is the environment variable that you need to set, and that is again. So let it just be there. I'm just going to bring it down over here. Say export SSL underscore cert file equals to, and then copy that path there. I believe our environment variable has been set. We need to verify that by using the echo command. So let me type that. Echo $SSL underscore cert file, right? And there it is. So this is the value of our SSL underscore cert file variable. So we have the entire absolute path stored in our environment variable. So we have basically completed step 5. Step 6. So now remember we have downloaded and installed Python. We have downloaded and installed Cassandra. We have CSQH. We've also downloaded our certificate file. So now we need to download and unzip our data file. Remember, our data file is a zip file. So let's go ahead and download it first, right? And I'm going to save this file as data.zip. You can give whatever name. Again, this link is in the download links copied from there, or I showed you it's part of your original tutorial as well, right? So if you go over here and you see sample migration.zip right here, you can also copy the link from here as well. So we are going to go ahead and download this particular zip file, right? Remember, it's a zip file. So we need to unzip it. So after we download it, we are going to install Unzip. Then we are going to unzip the file, extract our .csv file locally, right? And then you can review the structure of the CSV file that you just downloaded. Also, we need to ensure that it has some sample data. So let us go ahead and download this particular zip file. I'm going to copy the command, right? Paste it right there. And now let us execute it. I'm going to clear the screen. Paste it right here, hit enter, and a file has been downloaded. Let us check if it is downloaded or not. So we should see right here, data.zip. Again, clear the screen. Remember, this is a zip file, so we need to install Unzip. So let us do that. So it is apt install Unzip. So it is installing Unzip right now. Again, it's installed that. So clear the screen. And now what we need to do is we need to unzip data.zip. So unzip data.zip, enter. So this particular CSV file was extracted. Let us check that. And this is our CSV file right there. Keyspaces -sample table.csv. So copy this file, okay? And paste it right here. You will need it later on. So this has been extracted locally. What we need to do right now is clear the screen and look at our CSV file. So let me try and open it using the VI editor. So it's right here, right? So the first row is the header row. So you have award, year, category, rank, if you see right there, right? And then you have some sample data. You have approximately 9 records that are already present in this file. So we are good to go, right? So it's a good file. We have some sample data. and we are all set. I'm going to exit from here. So basically hit escape, colon, Q, and exclamation, and hit enter. You don't want to make any changes to the file. Okay, so we completed step 6. Step 7. Now we need to connect to Keyspaces. So we are going to change our directory to this bin, right? So let us see where we are. So we are in bin already. So that is good. So we have completed this step. Now we will use this particular command to connect to Keyspaces. So we are going to use cqlsh. We are going to use the endpoint for our region, our service username and our service password, and have --SSL at the end. Again, this command is available in the original tutorial as well if you would like to copy from there, right? So see, where is the command? Right here. It's right here. It's available in the original tutorial for you as well. Okay, so now let me go back and copy this particular command, right? And paste it right there. Now remember, the Cassandra endpoint for your region is going to come from the URL that I have shared with you. So I am in which region? Let me see. I am in North Virginia. So I'm going to continue and stick to this particular region. This is where I'll create my Keyspace and everything else, right? So I need to basically go to service endpoints and basically go to North Virginia. So US East 1. So this is the endpoint for that. So copy this particular endpoint and paste it right here. Now we need to use our service username and our service password. So copy the service username, paste it right there, and our service password right here. Right? And need to ensure that it is in one row. So copy this entire command, right? And paste it right here. Hit enter. So you see it is connected to your Keyspace right here. It is also telling you what versions it is using. So it is using cqlsh 5.0.1, Cassandra 3.11.2. CQL spec is 3.4.4 and some native protocol version 4. That's fine. So we are basically connected to Cassandra, to Amazon Keyspaces. So we have completed step 7. Now we need to create our Keyspace, and finally we need to create our table. Now again, if you want to copy these commands are available over here in the original tutorial. As I mentioned earlier as well, you can copy these CQL statements from here. So this is the command to create the Keyspace. So let's copy that, right? Come here, paste it there, and hit enter. Okay, it already exists. So I'm going to use a different name, right? I had done this before, so it exists for me. So I'm going to say catalog 1 and hit enter. Okay, so our Keyspace has been created with catalog 1. If you would like to verify whether your Keyspace has been created or not, this is the command for that, right? So let me copy that and again paste it right here. And this will give you the list of Keyspaces. So as you see, I already have catalog, so I had to create catalog 1. But in your case, if you're doing this for the first time, you can definitely use catalog or give whatever name that you like, right? It's just that stick to catalog so that you can easily copy paste these commands. So we created our key space. So we completed this step. Now we need to create our table. And then finally, if you want, you can verify whether your table was created. Now, this is verification using cqlsh. If you want, you can always use the console as well to verify if your key space and your table has been created or not. So now, let us say use catalog 1. Okay, and now we are going to go ahead and copy this create table. I'm first going to paste it right here, make it catalog 1. Somehow for me, these codes don't work, so I'm going to remove these codes, right? And another change that I made from the original tutorial is, if you see over here, I interchanged award and year. Somehow year and award, that year being the first column, was giving me a lot of errors. So, I mean, try with the original CQL statement, right? But if that's giving you errors, then just switch this, right? So, in fact, good that I remembered it, otherwise I would have got an error. I'm going to actually copy my own statement from here and paste it right there. So the original tutorial has year and award, as you see, but I flipped it and made it award and year, and I also changed the order in the primary key. So I'm going to use this one, and I'm just going to make this as catalog 1, right? And we are going to go ahead and create this particular table. Okay, clear the screen. Paste it right here and hit enter. So it seems like our table got created. We can verify that using this particular command as well. So let us quickly try that, right? To just ensure that our table was created successfully. So if something like this happens, just hit Control C, right? There is probably a special character that I had to get rid of, which I probably did not. So there it is. And again. So these are some of the errors if you encounter. Just go back and look at your statement. So yes, my table has been created successfully, and the table name is book_awards. So I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen. I'm not going to verify the structure and the schema. You already know the structure and schema, but if you want, you can certainly use this particular command to do that, right? Okay, so we have completed step 9. So now we have everything set up. We have a key space, we have a table, we have the right tools, everything installed. So now it is time to copy data from a CSV file using cqlsh, right? And using this particular command. So if everything is right and everything is in place, this should work successfully. I'm going to copy the command and again go back to my notepad, delete and paste it right there. Remember, it is catalog 1 for me. Book hours copy from, this was the name of our CSV file. So keyspaces _sample _table.csv, right? Need to ensure that I don't have any special characters with header true right there. Now in the original tutorial, you will see the very same command is right here. But along with that, they have calculated a whole lot of other things. As I said, I'm not calculating any capacity or anything, right? So if you want to do that, do that. And one another thing that that we need to do is we need to set the consistency level. But let me just execute it without the consistency level because there's a specific error that comes, right? So just copy this and let us try and execute this, right? So see what errors we get. So it is saying that see, the local quorum was not set, the consistency level. So if you get this particular error, which is quite common, right? That's when you need to go back and copy this statement. So setting the consistency level right there. So copy this and set consistency to local quorum. So copy this. Now I'm going to clear the screen, right? Paste it right here. Hit enter. Now try and execute this particular statement. And there it is. All 9 rows have been copied over successfully without any errors. So we basically completed step 10. Now, how do we know whether those rows have been copied over or not? So let us see if we can run some command, select stuff from, what was the name of that particular catalog, 1.book underscore awards, right? That's the name of our table. And colon, oh, sorry, my bad. From, and there it is. So all 9 rows have been copied over successfully. So this is how you get data from a CSV file copied over to Amazon Keyspaces, right? So I hope that this particular tutorial was helpful. Please do try it out, right? And let me know what your experience is. It's a real nice utility, a real nice tool, and a very good service. Do explore it. And this is it from me today. Ensure that you clean up all your resources. So exit, 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 and go ahead and clean up all of your resources, please, right? So thank you, and I will see you shortly in some other video. Till then, take care and bye-bye.